Hey everybody, how's it going? Josh here, and today we're going to talk about if Avengers 4 will actually make a new timeline. So this has been a really popular theory for Avengers Endgame, especially with all the time travel rumors going on with the quantum realm, or maybe the time loop from Doctor Strange being involved. And people, because of all this, are expecting a lot of timelines to potentially appear, since a lot of set photos seemingly gave us scenes from the previous Avengers movie, yet also older looking characters, along with casting reports for older aged characters as well. So it's really interesting when you also think about the fact that Spider-Man Far From Home is said to be minutes after Avengers Endgame, and there's some theories going on that Spider-Man Far From Home will take place both before and after the events of Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. That'd be interesting, but at the same time, I'm not going to go too far in depth with that so far, since we don't have that much information at all about really either film to really say if it's going to take place before, even though I'm sure you could speculate on that into infinity. However, if Avengers Endgame actually does institute a time skip during the time Spidey is quote-unquote dead, that kind of makes it hard without timeline shenanigans for Spider-Man Far From Home to be minutes, as they say, after Avengers Endgame. And if Spider-Man returned after defeating Thanos, it would have to be in the past for him and everyone else to seemingly resume their regular responsibilities, such as him going to high school, being a high schooler, class trips, whatever have you. I mean, it's still kind of weird how, if the movie is supposed to take place after Endgame, everyone seems kind of chill, all things considered. I mean, look at Iron Man 3, for example, with Iron Man dealing with that PTSD. You would think this would be that, but on a whole different magnitude of scale. But like I said before, I'm not really going to judge it too much, because you could speculate really on anything at this point with Spider-Man Far From Home, and even the scenes they've shown could always be fake. Just like in Infinity War, that trailer had Hulk running in Wakanda, there was no Hulk in Wakanda. So one thing that I thought about was a new timeline could actually come about as possibilities that Doctor Strange saw. Maybe those characters are getting plucked out here and there, but also a new timeline would have to be implemented because characters such as Black Panther, Doctor Strange, and even Spider-Man, as we talked about a few times now, they all have sequels confirmed at this point, and they're also characters that are dead at this point. And the only way for those sequels to happen is if those characters come back somehow, which would be from a new timeline. Now, the new timeline would be interesting because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of all things, which is technically still considered a part of the MCU, they explored parallel universes in their last season, as in one parallel universe, Graviton destroyed Earth after absorbing Quake's powers, while in another universe, parallel timeline, Graviton was actually defeated by Quake before he could absorb her powers. So it's definitely really interesting that we've already been exposed to this in the MCU by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe they're laying the groundwork for that kind of thing, being a part of the MCU, who knows. But members of that parallel timeline, such as Deke Shaw, can actually go into another universe, along with heading to the future / past of that timeline, without losing those memories, at least not instantly. Which I think is also interesting as well, if we were to maybe get characters moving from parallel universe to parallel universe with regards to timelines at least, and maybe they'll remember for a while the experiences of Endgame, but eventually those will fade because they happened in a parallel timeline. I think that'd be an interesting thing to play with. Maybe the only characters that will remember are characters such as Iron Man, Doctor Strange, but characters like Spider-Man, eventually those memories will fade away. Characters like Black Widow, Hawkeye, maybe those memories will eventually fade away. It'd be really interesting, and making a new timeline, or even the MCU wrapping up that timeline and then entering into a parallel timeline, would allow some ways for the MCU to introduce obviously new characters. And I know their first thought is probably thinking about the Fox characters, but also besides those slight changes, it would allow the MCU to tweak certain things that may have happened in the past that maybe upon hindsight they'd rather undo. So maybe some villains that were killed aren't dead anymore, or at least not as dead as they were before, such as Obadiah Stane. Maybe he actually survived, had a son, then he died, so we can get Ezekiel Stane. Or maybe we're getting other characters in the future. We don't know. There's a lot of possibilities. Timelines open those kind of doors all the time, but I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this kind of thing, this theory? It has so many possibilities, and we'll see you guys later.